Welcome to Talk Cosmos, the show where Sue Minahan and her panel of guests bring you leading-edge astrology conversations through a journey of soul growth patterns connecting astrology's energetic cycles. Get ready to understand your path in the cosmic roots of the stars.
Founder of Talk Cosmos, insightful conversations, awakening your authentic, your consciousness. Today is March 26th. In the sign of Aries, the sun is in Aries, and it's Kaleidoscope Visions. We always talk about a transit, and today we're talking about the two eminent ones occurring just within days of Pluto entering Aquarius and also of Mars. Pluto enters Aquarius for 2 months. It began on the 23rd, just a few days ago, until early June, just at 0 degrees. And then it re-enters to stay in Aquarius next January. So this will be very exciting. And Mars, I will comment, is quite a significant change. Usually it takes about 2 months, but we just experienced 7 months in Gemini, which is gathering information and connecting our whole everything, communication, mental energies. But in Cancer, it's more concerned with security and safety, our emotional process, and our stories. So let's find out more, because now we're ready for Kaleidoscope Visions.
Learning about current transits and exploring soul growth cosmic conscious energies applied to natal transit chart readings provided from the audience. This is your Kaleidoscope Visions panel.
I'm Sue Minahan, the founder of Talk Cosmos, an eclectic evolutionary astrologer, consultant, certified color energy life coach, vice president of the Washington State Astrological Association, member of Kepler Astrology Toastmaster Club, of a Dwarf Planet University diploma and AA with music degree. I love mythology, philosophizing, collaboration. I'm an artist, writer, a perpetual student of life.
I'm Amanda Pierce, a soul-centered astrologer, astrological consultant, and empowerment-based meditation teacher. I have a BA in psychology, I'm a wellness enthusiast with a passion for healthy eating, and I enjoy creating new realities and shifting old paradigms.
And I am John Chenworth, an astrologer from Seattle, Washington. I grew up in southern Arizona and was so obsessed with mythology that I concretely imprinted the Greco-Roman pantheon into my psyche. I still see those gods and goddesses infused into everything around me. My experiences of working with developmentally disabled and resource students for many years as both teacher and mentor has given me a strong compassion for others and has seasoned me with an exceptional reconciling energy. I have more than 18 years experience reading natal charts and continue to enhance consulting techniques by attending workshops and conferences. I use a unique blend of evolutionary, archetypal, and traditional astrological methods to look for themes in the birth chart for us to explore. I also enjoy penning poems and exploring Washington State on road trips.
And like the Sufi poet Rumi says, you are the entire ocean in a drop.
Well, hello again, both John and Amanda. It's so great to have us returning always.
Hello.
Yeah. Well, let's see. We're going to start right off in this with a packed comment. Content. Nathan, if I can have the slides. Okay. Because, one comment, here are the 5 points that 0 degrees with Pluto that will be coming up if people are interested. Next year, it'll be January 20th, September 1st, and 19th of November. But, Amanda, what would you say in a nutshell? We're each giving an idea of what is Pluto in Aquarius? What is it to you?
Yeah, well, so Pluto is, when I look at Pluto, it's about the journey into the deeper power within yourself. So it wants self-empowerment for yourself, and it's going to expose and eliminate anything that's in that pathway to get you to that empowerment. And Aquarius is fixed mental energy. So we might be coming across a greater awareness around stuck thought patterns and crystallized judgments. And Aquarius is also cellular memory. So that's where our trauma is stored. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Yes. We'll
lots
keep
of
going.
potential for
Thank you.
that to come up.
That's a wonderful snapshot overview of great depth. John, how would you like to add to this story here, adding as a feature of Pluto and Aquarius?
Well, I became fascinated by the last time Pluto went through Aquarius. Well, that was the American Revolution, and a French Revolution happened, and the Industrial Revolution happened. So like big changes across humanity. And I found out today, looking deeper, the time Pluto was in Aquarius before that, 1532 to 1553, ready. Henry VIII broke from the Catholic Church, and Copernicus published on the revolutions of the heavenly spheres, which said the sun was in the center of our solar system, which was upsetting at the time. So it's
Absolutely.
like full-on societal changes.
Oh, boy, you've both gone from macro to micro or back and forth. Well, I will add my feature involves our idea of networking and finding like-grouped people and the friendship element of it, because they are like-minded people, and networking. The Aquarian person is always very strongly involved with connecting to others, forming groups, and elevating the conditions for the group, sometimes to the detriment of themselves because of thinking in a group terms. So there's always that that polarity point that we need to bring in. Well, let's see what else we have. Oh, and here's another great picture that I could have brought up that shows some of these elements, the networking. Yeah. And of course, in Aquarius, it's so, all right. And the chart, just for the first chart at 0 degrees Aquarius, which was the 23rd of March at 8:14, that's Eastern time for those people that want to look at it. However, what we're going to continue with is presenting how Pluto, briefly, very briefly for our audience, how it might be transiting through a house of yours, because it takes a long time. Pluto will be 20 years in a house. Now, granted, not all of you have your house starting at 0 degrees. So it may be half of one house and half or partial. But the point is, it's going to remain in that sign, except for that period from June 11th till January 21st, when it just tiptoes back into Capricorn for a few degrees, which is very typical. Okay, so I will begin with the personal houses. We've divided them into 3 sections rather than quadrants, which is astrological talk. But first is personal, then there's social, and then there's universal. So personal will be 1 through 4. 1 is self. It's projecting yourself and your personality. And you're reclaiming your personal power, really. And during the time you may feel like you want to control events, there's always that feeling with Pluto, yet often that will not necessarily always occur, because it's this entire development of experiencing darker issues that you haven't quite looked at before, and situations that come into your life that help you get that self-transformation and self-empowerment. And so in the second house, and each one of these, of course, identifies the area of that house. So you learn very deeply because Pluto is deep, wants to uncover what's hidden that's really for your soul growth. And in the second house, it's possessions and your resources. That can be material or it can be personal, your talents. And feelings. It's not necessarily the emotions, but it's the feelings, because it's all the senses. It's your body. It's embodiment. And so you might have control issues about everything about managing your finances, which is a large part of resources, but also finding out latent talents that you might have. So you will possibly want control over your money. And I might say that the United States natally has Pluto in the second house. So it's always fascinating to learn more about the second house. But you learn about your strengths and your worth and your value. These are Venus. Venus rules Taurus. So it has that embodiment in the sense of the Taurian. Moving into the third house of communication with Gemini, that's going to change all your thinking, your connections about the family, in the sense of your siblings. These issues are coming up and having impact with you. Or you might study something really intensely, because it does involve that energy for a long time, and your words, choosing things very carefully, more carefully how you say things, and observing things more than just talking off the top of your head. But truth is going to be a big issue involved with it. And there may be deceit, because there's always two shades and shadows of everything. To have our soul growth, we have to move through. So going to the fourth, the end of my personal venture here in the fourth house of your foundations, your home, your childhood, and your parents. And this happens to be how Pluto has moved through my houses. I started in the first, went through the second, and I'm just now exiting the fourth, going into the fifth. So the fourth is really about how we nurture ourselves, our foundation, our childhood, our parents. You reconstruct on a very private basis so much that's part of ourself. And it can be buried resentments. It's very deep. It's quite emotional. It is naturally a water house, and Pluto too naturally has Scorpio, but it's very transformative. And coming out of this personal part, you're ready to leap into, well, I don't know about leap, but to enter what will be social. So we have John doing the social houses. John, what would you like to add?
Well, the fifth house, children, romance, and artistic expression are three main things of the fifth house. If you have Pluto going through that house, children come to the forefront, maybe power struggles, or I also would like to think of empowerment of children. In romance, you will take things more seriously and maybe more intensely if you're meeting people. And artistic expression, I think, is really interesting at this time because you're deepening your artistic expression, and it's a great time to improve on a certain element of what you do artistically. You can really focus on it. Sixth house. Okay, so, well, health comes into focus. Maybe you'll transform your diet and your exercise. There's a powerful transformation in how you do stewardship, how you take care. And they talk about in literature, like physical regeneration, right? And then the job comes to the forefront too. Again, changes, transformations, do a skills inventory at that time, especially right when it goes into the house. It's a good time to do that. Seventh house, relationships, right? Profound changes, seeing each other more honestly. And I have here layers of the onion being peeled. It's the power of love. Also, you might come into or have experience with looking for ways to reclaim the self in a relationship. The eighth house is where we would say Pluto is very comfortable in that house. The whole Pluto-Scorpio eighth house connection. Possessions and resources come into play. Think resurrection themes, and I like to think of, when I think of the eighth house in anything, I think of the phoenix, the great bird that catches on fire and collapses and is reborn again.
Oh, how lovely. Well, we have now the last four houses, the universal houses, and Amanda will complete our survey of the houses, and then we'll get into our chart for our natal reader that we're doing today.
Right. Thanks, Sue. Yeah, so the ninth house. So this is transformation of your belief systems to align with a deeper empowerment within you. And so this can come through higher education. You may be changing your thought patterns and getting rid of stuck beliefs. And really, it's just where you're looking for your information and truth in the ninth house. The ninth is also intuitive knowledge. And so that cellular memory that is associated with Aquarius, this can also be downloads of past life information. So unlocking that content from within you and allowing it to come forward for your empowerment. And I personally just had Pluto go through my ninth house, and I've been reflecting on that 20-year transit. And when that transit started, I came from a very intellectual family background and education system. And so anything metaphysical, anything woo-woo, astrology, it was all out. I wasn't into it, but that shifted over the years. And I've taken astrology classes, I've taken meditation classes, and now I see the world and my belief system about the world is completely altered and completely different. So a lot of potential with this transit. 10th house. So stepping into more authentic power out in the world. And this can come through a transformation in your career, or it can just be your legacy or how you're seen and how you're known in the world. It's a very powerful time to be seen in the world. And that you may be dealing with some trauma that comes up that's kind of that's kept you out of leadership, some thought patterns that have held you back, because the 10th house is associated with Capricorn, and that is a leadership archetype. The 11th house, coming into power within groups, wielding more influence in groups. Aquarius, the 11th house, is associated with activism, environmentalism, fighting on behalf of others. This could be a way of stepping into your authentic power. And there's potential to confront abuses or trauma that are happening within groups or that have happened to you within groups. 12th house, this is stepping deeper into your spiritual power and deepening your connection to the universe and finding that a deeper surrender into that connection. This is another big house for receiving downloads with past life information. It's also the house of the unconscious. So freeing trauma memories that have kind of been locked in on the unconscious level, that can all come up in the 12th house with this transit as well. So there you go.
Oh, excellent. Well, they are intense while they last, and it is really unearthing into the new butterfly that we then move into the next division. So I'm looking forward to these creative energies for me as I go into my 5th. Here we have, for our participant today, Nola, and she was born August 22nd, 1962, for our podcast people that are trying to follow, at 12:06 p.m. in Seattle, right where KKNW is located, and both of you, and I used to be. So in this chart, Nola has a 2-degree Scorpio rising, almost 3 degrees. Her sun is at the very last degree of Leo, up there in the 10th house, with Uranus smack dab right next to it, the very beginning of Virgo. So that has a lot of spontaneity, and we're talking, in fact, I don't know if I want to talk too much astrology. I know that this individual loves listening to astrology, but is not per se an astrologer. So that helps us talk more generic to our audience. But what is most amazing, the moon is in that communicative sign. There's a lot of strong communication, and there's a tension of action between transformation with natal Pluto and the emotional part of how a person operates with the moon in this communication, and with the bigger picture, everything big and healing with Jupiter and Chiron, which are archetypes. So let me pass it on to both of you. We have a few minutes here.
I think it's interesting to have Pluto in the 11th house at a time when Pluto just entered Aquarius, so experiencing it in our personal life as well as the collective is going through it. I think that's really interesting.
It does make I have my Pluto in the 11th also. Groups have always been paramount for me, and Pluto gives power and disempowerment. So it's very important to move into those areas that we feel that we're akin to, we're connect with on some element.
Building up the strength of those professional groups would be a good thing to do.
Go ahead. It was not happening. Go ahead, John.
Just the building up of professional groups at this time as Pluto gets ready to go in the 11th house. And yeah.
Oh, good point. Amanda, did you have a comment? Do you think?
Well, the first thing I was drawn to with Nola's chart is that Sun Uranus conjunction. So, just like a lot of creative energy with Sun in Leo, and Uranus kind of brings that genius forward too. So creativity with genius, and all of that Virgo right next to it, that the Pluto and the Mercury, a Mercury in Virgo is a very strong mind, and all of that Virgo is it's really drawn to acts of service and being of service to its community. So I'm curious what NOLA does, but I'm seeing a lot of that coming forward.
It is very true, and it's a good distance. So there's a very clear analytical thought and great, as you say, ingenious, a quick mind that understands things, and also it's a distance. So there's a lot of clarity with it. Well, let's go to the next. We can always go back. Pardon me, I have a frog suddenly that wants to talk instead of me. It happened to be that as of speaking, there's a returns for her chart. So we're going to look at this event chart briefly. Mars just entered Cancer, and she has a Mars return, and the same with the moon. So that's your direction, your motivation, your mojo, and your emotional connections to your stories and communicating ways. But it is in this, the dynamics here have, just for this return chart, I don't know if we want to spend too much time, a toggle, I could say, of struggle between who I am and emotionally, just transiting in this chart with this forward motion that wants to, because Mars in Cancer is more careful. It's not rapid. So it's going to take its time because it needs to release a lot. And it's not always so simple. So it could be, my thought here is the focus, but getting new focus, because the rulers of Scorpio are both, have just changed signs. Pluto is now in Aquarius, that we can see down at the bottom. And so it's, just as we have said, more interested in other focuses along with Mars. But that's what the emphasis is releasing old fixed ideas, like you had said, Amanda.
Yeah, I think it's so powerful that Nola's having this Mars return at the same time that Pluto is shifting into Aquarius. So when I think of Mars in Cancer, I think of like that mama bear energy. It's like, it's very protective of its tribe and its people, and it's very personal. So with a Mars return in Cancer, this is a time to take a look at where you're putting your energy. Does it still align with what's correct for you? Is it still being done in a way that empowers you? Mars is also the conscious driver of Pluto, because Pluto is one of the outer planets that kind of works on an unconscious level. So it's going to be how you more consciously move that Pluto journey forward for you, or that self-empowerment forward for you. So looking at your Mars and this Mars return is quite important.
It is. And then too, there's this beautiful trine, meaning a flow of energy with that south. So it appears that the structure, of thinking of what's longevity, what, like I had said, determining essential visions, because Saturn in Pisces is really what's essential and what's my vision. And nurturing is really that Mars in Cancer wants to nurture yourself, and action. And releasing, which always is the south, it's what we've carried with us, it's strong. And this is the collective thing right now. John, do you have a thought, or shall we jump to the next bi-wheel? We have a few minutes.
What jumps out to me is the trine between Pluto and Ceres, and that square between Mars, Ceres, and the inconjunct from Mars back to Pluto. It's like an interesting picture. Within conjunct, we call that like adjusting or working therapeutically with. Mars, Pluto combined, you're dealing with like hidden resources of energy and like a fight for survival. This kind of it doesn't resolve. You might not know quite what to do, but the nice connection with Ceres is to ground, right?
With
take
what
it
did you
easy.
say? I'm missing that word. Ceres? Are you talking about the
Ceres
goddess?
up there in the
Yeah, and if you would
old-
elaborate too, because we're not talking to an astrologer, doesn't have all our background. So, in other words, Ceres would be more nurturing, wouldn't it? It would needing to give on a mundane level, nurturing. Is that what you're
and to ground,
saying?
as being an earth goddess, I think of her as grounding because she works with the earth, growing plants and stuff, whatever that would be to settle down, because Mars and Uranus in a rocky kind of aspect, having that grounding is very, very good. Helps you process through whatever is happening.
I love that you're connecting that Mars. You made that Mars Ceres connection because Nola also has Ceres conjunct the North Node. So that's a journey for her in this lifetime. And
Right.
so it coming up at this transit, that's pretty important, I think.
Good. Well, here we have the bi-wheel, and we have a few minutes, not very many, but a few, and we can come back. But here is the natal chart on the inside and this moment that I chose as of today, because we could have chosen any of the last recent days, but whoa, such an impact. Here she has this Mars return at a 0 point with a moon return, which happens every month, of course, but it happens to be right now. Mars only returns every 2 years, so it's significant, along with these ingress or these energies. So now, and her rising sign with Scorpio is in a flow. I mean, immediately it's welcoming this Mars. I mean, that's a trine right there. You know, they're both water signs, so pretty dynamic. Oh, go ahead. I could keep talking, but go ahead. We have just a moment, or maybe we should come back to this. Does something spit out? We have actually about 30 seconds. No?
There's so much on the chart.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Well, there is. I'll let you look at this, and I will say that what's so fascinating is...
Oh, there is those creative quintiles.
There's a lot. But she also natally has this great energy between her big picture of Jupiter. And remember, we have to explain this to people that aren't astrologers. With the Chiron, that has healing tendencies, that what's something that we experience that we can share with other people as healing, which is a very dynamic energy for her. It's in her fourth house of personal foundation, and they're conjunct, meaning they're smack dab together. And in this transiting energy right now, along with this active mojo with the Mars saying, hey, we got Action City happening. Let's retreat and regroup. And I say that because it's in Cancer. But it's also has the Jupiter Chiron in conjunction that is looking at Mars. So it seems as though this is a seed point. Very interesting. I know she's been waiting months to get on our schedule, because we only do this once a month. And we didn't do it in January. We did Water Rabbit, which is fascinating to listen for those people that haven't heard it. But it was perfect timing. Like, the universe has things for her.
Expansion of regimens and planning health things would be very good at this time. Also, I'm so interested in Hygeia, that asteroid about health near Pluto down at the bottom of the chart. A little bit wide, but why not? It's these health things keep coming
And it's
up.
approaching the IC. Yes, health. And you'll find out that she is involved in health. Okay, we will return. This is Kaleidoscope Visions. I'm with Amanda Pierce and John Chenworth. I'm Sue Minahan. And it's March 26th. So return in a moment, and we'll continue with Nola about her chart, her thoughts, and what's happening. Thank you. While we take a break from this week's edition of Talk Cosmos, let's take a look at this cycle's archetype. We're currently in the period of Aries. By leaving a cycle based upon completion, the energy of Aries sparks initiation, creating action to separate into a new cycle of life. It's a fire sign, which means it will involve great emotion. And because separation may create resistance, it also takes great courage
to break away to new ways of becoming.
This is Martha Norwalk. Every Sunday morning beginning at 9 a.m., thanks in part to the Whispering Dragon Center in Shoreline, we cover the world of animals. This week, April 2nd, it's Shelter Rescue Sanctuary and anything that helps our animal friends Sunday. We'll check in with our regulars, Meow Cat Rescue, Help Animals India, and Seattle Dogs Homeless Program. Plus, we'll chat with the Ananda Institute of Living Yoga to find out about all the classes and events coming up there this month. Hope you can join us for Martha Norwalk's Animal World, Sunday morning, 9 a.m. to noon, right here on Alternative Talk, AM 1150.
Talk Cosmos brings you leading-edge astrological conversations with hour-long programs each week on KKNW. The show goes live every Sunday from 1 to 2 p.m. Pacific. Talk Cosmos weekly programs are also available to watch live on Facebook and YouTube, along with daily chats throughout the week on the Talk Cosmos YouTube channel. While you're there, make sure you click like and subscribe buttons so you can get the full Talk Cosmos experience. Or, if you'd rather listen to the show archives with audio only, the entire podcast collection since 2018 is available on most podcast carriers. So, grab your coffee, tea, or kombucha and enjoy the show.
Alternative Talk 1150, here to uplift your day.
Hey, we're back again, and just before we begin with Nola, I want to say that we're not taking any time from this, but you can reach out to either John, Amanda, or myself. We all do consultations, and we're eager and happy to work with you. So John Chinworth is skypathastro.com. You can find this on the YouTube or go to Talk Cosmos. I have all the guests there. This is season 6, by the way, but they were each in the last season. Amanda Pierce, best is amandamoonastrology at gmail.com, which is also, I think, the name of her website, or me, Talk Cosmos. And remember to connect for our newsletter. We're always happening with new panels and subjects, and the YouTube channel. We are a podcast and a YouTube. Okay, so I repeated the same slide so that we wouldn't get lost. And we have Nola. Now, just before we say something to Nola, I'm going to review, remembering that transiting Pluto, which was there's so much here, but not to forget, is in the 3rd house. So that does bring up this idea that it's a great time to reevaluate the thinking, research, investigation, a time of study, and of course with siblings and whatnot. And also that our expectations, I read that was very fascinating to me. They actually change. And so it's a great time to pursue those connecting ideas and dreams that we have and that we learn through observation. And it can stimulate on the shadow side a little negativity of privacy, secrecy, which it does in any of them. So it is a matter of looking at shadows. Where were they rooted? And maybe finding out more information or shedding through that. Okay. Shall we bring Nola? Are you there?
Hello, Sue. Thanks for having me.
Wonderful. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to this.
Good. So perhaps we'll work around this transit reading. Would you give us an idea of first give us some feedback on what we may have said and the focus you would also like to share. What was your feedback? Did you have some feedback that you could share with us?
Yeah, a few things resonated with me. And I know ahead of time you asked me if there was any question I had, and I brought up the topic of my career and possibly career change or changing jobs within my career. And one thing Amanda said that kind of resonated was, where I put my energy, does it align with what is correct for me? I feel like this point in time, it does not. And at one time it did. When I started my job, it was 15 years ago. I loved my job, but now it's to the point where I know my job really well. It's comfortable, but it's not really as rewarding and fulfilling as it once was. And I feel like it's definitely time for a change. But you also mentioned, Sue, I think you said, since I'm not an astrologer, hopefully I get this right. Mars in Cancer tends to be careful. So I tend to be cautious and not really quick to make change, and kind of got to check things out first. And so I tend to do what's comfortable, and maybe I'm staying in this position too long where it's kind of becoming uncomfortable.
It's like, please release me. My soul needs growth.
And this comfortable position is not comfortable anymore. It's like, maybe I just need a little kick in the pants.
Well, yes, but this is what, on a friendly, nurturing basis, because Cancer is nurturing. Remember this, we all want to get a little brash with ourselves, but I've learned from masters to be gentle with oneself, because time, particularly with Cancer, it's a process. It takes its own time. And therefore I'm going to jump up and say one thing and then let both Amanda and John speak, who I know have stellar thoughts. But looking about that process of time, you just had a Saturn return, because the cycles, Saturn takes 29, 30 years to go around until it returns. And the first one's around 28, 29, 30. And then the next one is just going on 60. So those are pivotal times when we really do assess and address. Well, in your case, Pluto is going to be connecting with that, I noticed, 5 times, but in 5 years from now. So let's see if I showed it on the next slide. I think I did. Yeah, here it is. So you can keep this, and we won't focus on it now, but you have time to start using those transformations in the 3rd house, which include so many facets of ideas and dreams and new expectations and developments, because Pluto's going to be your friend and work on what you think is longevity and what's essential in Aquarius. And that's going to be as of the 27th. So we'll get back to the chart. Okay, Amanda and John, what would you like to share?
Well, Nola, I'm not surprised that you're you're coming up against like this career piece for yourself, because that Pluto is the transiting Pluto. You can see down there with the yellow arrow, the bottom of the chart, is creating that yacht effect, and so it's really it's hitting your Sun Uranus, and it's hitting your Mars at the same time. So you're feeling that sense of like, I'm not putting my energy in the right place. It's maybe draining me. But that concern about being cautious about moving forward. Well, that Sun Uranus, the Sun in Leo, it's a creation point, and it's, when it connects with Uranus, there's like this sense that you're always going to be needing to kind of recreate yourself in a way. Now, because Uranus is in Virgo, Virgo's about like the small little details. And so making those incremental shifts for yourself. And so just like starting to look into what might feel better for you is a good start. But this Pluto transit, it's going to feel kind of shaky. It's going to feel uncomfortable, but it wants you to step into the greater power for yourself. So it's trying to get you there. And this is just a little bit of a start for you.
I love, Amanda, I had to jump in right now. And Nola, speak up however you are. You are part of us, although we can't see you. It's okay. And that is, I love, Amanda, the fact that you said incremental, because Virgo does, you're on a thinking, and the moon, and that energy is ruling your emotional part. Nola, your moon. And so the little steps are so important, and the universe loves action. I remember Dougal Fraser, who's an intuitive, would say that, and it's so true. Action is important, and a little bit of something going forward. Now, John, you mentioned about grounding, and Amanda,
I did find a couple more things happening right now with the chart.
And Nola too. go ahead, speak of that. And I know about the grounding. I don't know. Are you in a meditational practice right now?
Well, I try to do grounding meditation. I'm not doing it always on a regular basis, but it's something that I try to do. Okay. When I think I do it more when I feel like I'm kind of unsettled,
yes, I know.
I should try to make an effort to do it on a daily basis, so that way I don't become ungrounded. I can stay a little more grounded all the time. But sometimes when I'm starting to feel unsettled, I need to. Then I really start reminding myself, I need to do more grounding.
That could be a good nurturing stimulus.
I love that, Sue, too, because of that Saturn transit, the green arrow at the bottom, that Saturn going through Pisces. It's going to be coming up on your Jupiter and Chiron in Pisces. And so that Pisces energy, super compassionate, really creative, but can be a bit ungrounded. And so Saturn is can kind of help you create that discipline and get that get that structure for yourself to do that grounding.
And revelations. Now, John, thank you, Amanda. John, what were you going to add to?
Now is a good time to work on groundedness because, again, I'm going to bring up Ceres again. The nodes are squaring Ceres at this time. And the nodes are about soul's evolution. And with Ceres, we're talking self-care and mothering and looking at how we take care of ourselves. So good time to do that. And Saturn forces that, I think.
Yeah, and with Ceres in Leo conjunct the North Node, like this is a journey, a lifetime journey for you to kind of reclaim that that sense of fun and play within yourself, and is because you've got a lot of aspects here that show you're a hard worker, but maybe there's a part of this career shift can be incorporating that kind of play or fun into your life, or creativity that just kind of elicits
play
that
is
passion.
Important. So, Amanda, Nola, what kind of career? I know you are interested in the career, and of course, what comes to mind right off the bat that you might be interested in studying? Because again, Pluto there in that third house, and your inquisitive Gemini moon and quick mind. What comes to mind that you might be interested in?
Well, the thing I'm really interested in, I and you know this, Sue, is energy healing, and so I haven't really studied. I mean, I've practiced it. I've gone to school and done some of that. I feel like I don't know how to actually change my career and be able to support myself doing that. So I kind of seen that more of a something to do on the side. So I feel like it's hard for me to imagine. It's kind of, I feel like I still need to find another job to make money, and then, but what I'm really interested in is energy healing.
Right. Are there classes that you
a sense of fun and play that resonate? A sense of fun and play. You said, you're a hard worker, which I feel like, I'm a hard worker. And right now I don't feel like my job is really fun because I work with people who are very ill. I'm a dietitian at a dialysis center, work with people who have kidney failure. So it's not really fun, and there's not a sense of play. I'd like to have that sense, the sense of fun and play at my new job, where it's a little more lighthearted.
Yes, and I might remembering too about that energy Amanda brought up about Uranus, and Uranus here transiting. It's an outer planet. It rotates on its side and it spins backwards. It's totally irreverent. But what I've learned through vibrational astrology is it represents now. It doesn't care about the past, doesn't care about the future. It wants life right now. So I can understand that this, and the play factor, the fact that your son is in Leo, that sees the creativity and life in every moment. So I'm looking, and I'm saying this too for Amanda and John, looking at the other long transits. One energy is Uranus, and of course we have in the seventh house. So that does have some unexpected. Do you have some ideas about like health. If it's energy healing, there's so many ways. There's Reiki. There's I would say, well, here I'll finish with this. I would say just reaching out and learning about maybe hypnosis or something.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think you're right. Just looking into taking some classes or just finding out other what types of energy healing I might be more interested in.
And it may be that that's just where you start with it. You know, you start doing it outside of your paying job, and then that starts to get the ball rolling, and you start to work with the energy of the universe, and you know, where you put your energy, the universe responds with more of it. So just kind of like doing it for yourself in the moment, and then allowing it to kind of move forward.
Yeah, I think the expectation, that's a lot of it, because I was reading it in my own notes. Pluto is in that third house. It's been there for quite a while for you, but it's been in a different sign. So it's been very attached to the standards and the conditioning. And now it's really a matter of deconditioning by, I think, allowing that moon of yours to study different subjects that maybe don't have a huge commitment, but yet introduce brand new ways so that you can discover it more. Because with that Mars in the 8th house, it could be very deep and probing. You could be very caring and give that nurturing to people. I think that, I don't know about, I keep thinking about regression.
Okay.
But
I was thinking with Pluto going into Aquarius right now, the changes happening, Aquarius being the professional guilds we associate with, find the next professional guild you want to be with and start getting involved with them. Even though it's not a job change now, just find that group you want to be with, and whatever you're attracted to, go try that out. Does that make any sense?
Oh, yeah, that does. Yeah. Oh, thanks, John.
And it could be, too, come to think of it, online. Do you do very much? I know you work full time and you have other responsibilities, but do you go, like I'm part of many groups. I don't necessarily join them online all the time, but but that is a strength.
Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah, I don't do a lot of things online right now. Once in a while, I'll take a class or something like that, but yeah, I don't.
What about groups, though, that share ideas that might be like some metaphysical idea or a healing group?
Oh, right.
Because they, online.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. Something online.
And you've got a really strong connection, like really strong intuition, it looks to me, because I'm looking at that Hygeia, Jupiter, Chiron in Pisces, down in the 4th house. And I was wondering, you know, before I knew what you did, if you brought in intuition into into a healing sphere. So even if you were to do energy work, or building your intuition, I'm wondering if that's something that you could then bring into your current work environment. I know as a patient, I'm not in the medical field, but as a patient, I love to work with doctors that work with their intuition and that work with their guidance systems. I'm like thrilled when I can find that. So that's just a thought of a way to kind of bring that a little more passion and fun back into your work world.
Oh,
Jupiter may want to bring more of a spirit of play into the workplace. Jupiter in the 6th, and it's those two quintiles to, like it's Saturn and Mars. It's like bringing in a sense of play, a different view of how you look at what you do.
Well, I personally know that your work has certain boundaries. Isn't that true? I think, Nola. Yeah. So what we're really looking at is, I think what Nola has said, it's been many years that she's been in this position of authority. I mean, she has a position naturally of authority, that an expertise. and it has moved around. But this idea of needing that soul growth and it is approaching again the Saturn, which is also Saturn. I think, okay, I'm going to go back to that Saturn, your natal Saturn near your south node, which means past conditioning of lives. And I think part of this emphasis might be because we're talking about 5 years from now when it's really going to keep getting more and more intense. Like now it's like the waves are coming out and you're sensing this and exploring, and it's perfect timing. I mean, the universe, it's got the Mars saying, hey, start some action. So we're suggesting it's going to take a process. You can't fight your Mars. It's not going to be overnight, but you can start connecting, whether it's imagine or dreaming about, and then maybe choosing a group that you can begin to share ideas or something like that. And also the grounding on a regular basis, knowing that, but that will naturally start being emphasized too, because Saturn, again, as Amanda pointed out, which is in the green one, is you're going to want to have new, bigger ideas and philosophies, and that'll start helping you go in that direction. But what I'm getting at is part of this whole process is perhaps the intention. Scorpio and Pluto loves intention. Intending that you're releasing what no longer is serving you, because then the greater picture will form. You know what I'm saying about the heart? It'll connect with you. It takes time.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Do you have any questions as far as any thoughts right off the bat?
One quick question. You've been mentioning Ceres, and since I'm not an astrology person, I'm not sure what Ceres is. You talked about Ceres in my chart.
Ceres is the biggest asteroid. It was promoted to dwarf planet when Pluto was demoted to dwarf planet, made a new category of planets, I guess. Ceres is the goddess of growing things, and she's tied to a myth of Persephone that how spring and summer and winter work. Her daughter is taken away from her, which is a period of loss for her. So often Ceres is connected with loss. And it being square the nodes, maybe looking at loss that is happening or processing through that. I was wondering if that could be the thing.
Well, and I will add that Ceres is where we nurture ourselves through that loss and grief. So loss is a predominant part, just like the plants don't grow in the wintertime, that coming out of it. But we find a way, much like our healing energy, that we can give sustenance to ourselves and to others.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And John, you just mentioned processing loss, which is exactly what I'm doing right now. A friend of mine that I've known since I was in the first grade just passed away.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
March 5th. And then actually it's kind of it's been rough, but also a year ago in March, I had another friend who passed away. So I'm like, my gosh, 2 friends each year in March. And so it's kind of like, this one's a little bit harder because it's, so I am definitely in the process of processing that. So you really hit the nail on the head.
With that, Nola, I can suggest, because you've got that moon in Gemini and Pluto in the 3rd, right? I don't know if you're familiar with the artist's way, but the idea is that every day you take 3 pages. They can be any size of pages, but 3 sides of pages, and you just write without judgment. You can write, I don't know what to think about, or, oh gosh, or anything you want. They don't need to be full sentences or anything, but it spits it out of your system, and then you can destroy them, burn them if you have to. Shred
don't
them,
have
whatever.
to read them. You can be like, hey, did that, got it out, right?
Just finish it, because it is a process. Again, it's like taking form, making things that work kind of randomly through and flushing them through, putting form to them, and then done and over, along with a meditation. Because you've got
It's a great way to get into your right brain and kind of rebuild those neural pathways to the more creative work that you want to be doing.
Right. Oh, okay.
Well, thank you, Nola. This has been wonderful.
And it's Amanda and John.
Yes, we make good teamwork here. And for those folks that can see the YouTube, do connect with our playlist on YouTube. We have everything about Pluto and Aquarius from October 2nd to January 1st of this last year and this year. And then just recently on the 5th of January and the 19th in many dimensions. And coming up in April will be about the eclipses. So there's a lot of good energy here to kind of find out about what is this energy we're all now living and been waiting for. Yeah. Well, I guess we can say adios until another time. Yes, Amanda and John?
Lovely to see you all. It's great connecting.
Good to see everybody.
Yes. The year of the water rabbit. Okay. Blessings to all in spring.
Thank you for joining us on Talk Cosmos, the show where Sue Minahan and her panel of guests connect soul growth patterns with the energetic cycles of astrology. Be sure to tune in next Sunday at 1 p.m. Pacific Time to continue your journey through the roots of the cosmic pathway.